First half is down, sir. Not a problem.
Forecast the breakdown of five months.
For first half, first 6 months. The total of the first 6 months.
The first half month, the number, the actual performance. Yeah, it's 6%.
So then compared to what last
7.8 last year.
for first half of 2013 was 7.2.
It's in the kit that was provided to you.
Before you mentioned Malaysia, the five in Malaysia, how are we doing? We're still behind China. I mean, I assume we're still behind China. What are we like the third highest, fourth highest?
We're the second highest in Asia among major Asian countries, next to China. We had in the second quarter we're the same rate of growth as that of Malaysia.
So in the second quarter, we're still behind China.
We have always been behind
Yeah,
China.
but you said you were tired of Malaysia. So is that mean that's what? Like, better than Malaysia or what? You said five in Malaysia.
We're fine. Really, it's the same growth as in the first and
We in
second
Malaysia
quarter.
are both next.
Yeah.
Yes, hello.
Hello there. Yeah, Safety Delegado from Bloomberg. So you said that the second quarter and the first half GDP numbers has so far not been affected by the preemptive moves of the BSP to curb supply side shocks on prices. But do you see any effect for the second half with the stronger growth? And you said that you foresee that the Philippines is now back to a higher economic growth trajectory. Do you think that that higher growth trajectory provides enough space for the BSP to anchor any second round inflation events?
I would think so. The increase in the interest rate, in the policy rate, it's not that large to reduce the growth prospects. In fact, it's very much more. It's pro-growth. I would like to see the move of BSP as supportive of the medium-term to long-term growth prospects for the country.
More questions from the press?
Question. I am afterwards.
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, Warren Guzman, ANC. So in the first quarter, you already said that there was a problem with the disbursements for rehabilitation efforts in Pacific areas. What happened from the first quarter to the second quarter? I remember that after the press conference, you actually went to the landed areas to examine the local government units' disbursement plans or expenditure plans. What has happened? What has slowed down these efforts to rehabilitate these areas?
My understanding is that there are some administrative bottlenecks some agencies not able to deploy sudden, this large increases in outlay for particular areas, like in this case, Yolanda, affected regions suddenly have to absorb so much fund the national agencies. They had some problems with those ones. But I would note that in June this year, no, the disbursement of the obligations have already reached about 45%, an increase of 45%. So I would expect that these effects of public spending for disaster affected areas, particularly the land affected areas, would show up in the third quarter. And I think the second semester growth for 2014 would likely register a very favorable number coming from the government sector.
I recall also in the first quarter report, you mentioned that it was about 30 billion for the rehab efforts. How much of that has actually been already spent?
My understanding is that the bulk of that has been released, dispersed, but whether it is actually in the field spent is something else. And I think that's what we are monitoring now closely, because disbursement and obligation is one thing. Actually spending them, and this is the one that's counted in the national income accounts, is something else. And that's but we are getting favorable reports that things are moving up now more faster. Initially, we have had discussions with COA also help us speed up the process, because at the level of LGUs, we also get reports about funds being tied up there. It's quite slow to move. And national government agencies and our commission, our COA, have been discussing the ways like this things that could be sped up.
Last question. When was the last time government spending was at zero growth for a quarter?
I have to look at the previous quarters, and I haven't done the numbers.
This is the first time under your watch.
No, I think it's under my watch. It's the first time that the government final consumption spending is it's last quarter into the 2% that I think I recall. But yeah, I think this quarter's performance is rather low.
We have someone from the far left hand. Any question?
I am associated with XMAP, that is the multinational foreign community newspaper in the Philippines. Now, our readers, foreign readers, would also like to know how you come across those, not come across, but how you deal with those figures, because you are the ones exhibiting them to the public. Now, how do you get those figures? Is it through reliance on the reports of these companies themselves, like, for example, manufacturing, and or do you actually at some point actually do a research, meaning to say, just like a survey when they ask who are the leading candidates, something like that. Let's say out of a 1,000 population in the barangay, you interview about 100 people. Is that how you do it? How you get those figures? Or is there any other method that you use? I ask so I can inform my foreign leaders about this.
The way we compile our numbers, national statistical figures, the national income accounts, is based on internationally accepted protocol. We are part of the international system of accounts led by the United Nations. And so it's not ad hoc. It's based on science. It's science, and it's based on internationally agreed upon protocols. So that these numbers and the way we gather them is comparable to the way these numbers are compiled in other countries, over 100 countries.
How is it done?
Well, it's based on several data, surveys, reports, administrative data. There's no single source. For manufacturing, for example, we have monthly surveys of establishments. Agriculture, the same way, we have periodic surveys. And these are representative at the national level. There's sciences. We use accepted
International.
international practices.
Okay, thank you.
Saw someone, and after her,
Sir, can you just explain the decline in the growth of investments in the second quarter, as well as I also saw that there was a decline in capital formation.
and
Yeah.
Both is-
The decline there is to do more with the rather weak performance in the public sector's construction. As was shown, it's negative. Whereas the private sector actually grew quite robustly, 12%. The number, the private sector, yeah, grew. Gross value in construction in the private sector is about 12.7%. Despite the reversal of what we noticed in the first quarter, no? You remember in the first quarter, it was the private sector that was quite negative, and we are quite happy that in the second quarter, private sector investment is picking up.
Also, sir, because you said in your statement that on the government spending, you said that the government is trying to catch up with its WIP program for the year and trying to address its administrative bottlenecks. Can you just elaborate what these admin bottlenecks is still a result of the, with the controversy surrounding the DAP, the which the government said is shedding effect through government agencies. And what are you trying to do? Because you said you're confident that the government will be able to catch up. What gives you confidence that we'll see a turnaround in government spending in the second half?
As I mentioned earlier, some of the samples of the involve having to validate proposed programs and the grassroots participatory budgeting, some revisions of work programs, particularly the construction needs in affected areas as well as in other disaster areas. In the case of DSWD, the delays were mainly due to delay the validation of the national household targeting system. And there, as I said earlier, there are also hurdles that our agencies on the ground would have to cooperate in relation to COA matters and COA issues. So but these are already being addressed. So that's why we are very confident that the contribution of the public sector in GDP, like in the third and fourth quarter, will be much more improved.
This one out. And rest. Research. Yes, sir.
On the uptick in manufacturing, Secretary Panisakan, you said that much of the growth in the industry was from manufacturing. We're wondering if we have seen the effects of the port congestion already in the second quarter, because there are also supply bottlenecks there. Raw materials are not being shipped to EDSA zones. Um, are we going to see some sort of a slowdown in that what do you call that, sector in the coming quarters? And what are the recent government moves to address such supply side bottlenecks?
We have been working very hard to address the port congestion issue triggered by the ban imposed by the city of Manila. And yesterday, the president presided a meeting, key decisions that we have to make to finally put an end to things have improved quite a lot, but they you know, the, the reduction of the backlog would take some time. But I think that the program that we have put in place in the discussions we had yesterday, we should be able to get to normal before the end of the year. So looking at September, October, middle part of the calendar year. And there are a number of solutions that have been put in place, being put in place. Incidentally, can I go back to that question earlier? It's very interesting. Did you have previous quarters when government final consumption expenditure was negative? Zero. Actually, there are many. Starting from 2000 to 2008, there were many quarters when we had. I think what is very important is that for the full year, we don't have that negative. But it's very important that what is allocated by Congress for spending is spent for the year. But of course, it also matters that these are spent on the quarters that the money is at the ground, because that affects the quality of services that we provide to our people. So this is not unique. I mean, the experience that we are seeing is not unique. Yeah, the zero. The BGS era is telling that zero is better than negative, because in the past, for example, in 2008, we had 3 quarters when the numbers on government final consumption were negative. In 2001, we also have 3 quarters. In 2002, this is the worst. We have 4 quarters of negative growth.
In order to provide for institution. Just to clarify that remark, one of the main constraints of growth in this quarter was government understanding. We say that. Also looking for the full year figure, how much growth do we have posted to the next 2 quarters, the remaining 2 quarters of the current target?
We are still holding onto the 6.5 to 7.5% growth for the full year. And for us to achieve the lower range, lower limit of that range, you would need to grow at least 6.9% in the second half. But we have had growth quarterly in recent quarters from 7.8, 7.6. So it should be within reach. As I said, we expect to see the government sector as main driver of growth in the remaining 2 quarters.
So it was government underspending.
Well, let's put it this way: we achieved 6.4%. I would have, if the government spending was more favorable than what we actually realized, that would have been a bit higher. But remember that the direct spending of government is not that large as a component of GDP. But it's very important in affecting other economic activities because it's about services provided to both households and firms.
I Toshia Nakamura, Federal News Group. One question. How much effective quota to buy congestion of Uganda port? So because import in June is decreasing, so what do you think about the congestion of Uganda port?
How much is the Manila port congestion cost? Congestion.
Congestion, the possible impact on the economy. Well, considering that this problem started in February, and it's this quarter that they're referring to is the second quarter, it's actually May, June. So it would have affected the performance, but it's not that much as we have seen. But of course, it's the lingering effects of that truck ban and that poor condition that is market. That's why we are making sure that this issue is put to rest. We are putting solutions, giving solutions to the problem. As I said earlier, there are commitments from both government agencies and the private sector to work together, for the two sectors to work together to ensure that those backlogs, the congestion at the port would be solved. And things will get to normal as early as possible. We're looking at September, October as a major turning point.
If the funds for the rehab of your land were spent on time, how much will those figures have been? How much did we lose because of the delay in spending for rehab?
It could be a bit. I doubt it would contribute 1 percentage point of GDP. It could be lower than that. But the impact would be much more staggered. It's not that because the rehabilitation and reconstruction would take time, and rebuilding the assets, particularly the private assets, would take time.
What is the goal of PCI?
Thank you for your explanation of the negative growth in government construction. But the private construction spending went up. Could you kindly elaborate more on that, the sources, and was it all residential construction, for example?
We are seeing very robust growth in demand for spaces, particularly commercial spaces. Which is strong demand for commercial office spaces, BPOs, and BPM. As we have seen, manufacturing is expanding rapidly, it's growing rapidly, and this has been for the last couple of quarters now. And that growth will have to come from investment because you can only grow so much. You have to add on more capital plants, equipment to get that to sustain that growth, and that's where this growth is, investment is coming from. Also, we are seeing tourism is a very vibrant. There are all these constructions in hotels, in recreation services, and services. I think there's a fueling growth in private sector investments.
I have questions from the audience. Zach.
Sir, can you just cite the solutions that you said that you want to put in place to address the congestion of the roads? What did you discuss yesterday with the president? What were the solutions? Can you just cite them?
Yeah, even our the agreement yesterday is we come up with a statement that should be released. And the private sector is also doing the same thing. So let me not jump into that.
Even, ano lang sir, on maybe an agenda.
But
maybe
yeah, it involves things like moving part of this MPs to Subic and getting Subic as partly Manila Port kind of thing. But there are many others like expanding the lanes that trucks can work on so that they will reach the destinations quicker, faster.
No more questions? More questions from the audience? Follow-up question.
Just a follow-up question with regards to work situation. Imports impacted in certain quarters.
How long can exports of goods go while imports how long can you think with the export growth in growth in export goods can be sustained with the imports of components for exports et cetera? Yeah. So, how do you think this is sustainable and the impact of the contraction of imports and goods? How will that affect exports moving forward?
We expect imports to pick up in the coming quarters, especially as what we have seen, there is a drawdown of inventory, substantial drawdown. Actually, partly reflecting the low capital formation there. It's large drawdowns in inventory, and firms are expected to rebuild the inventories, and that would involve importation in addition to sourcing the inventory from domestic production supply. So I expect that imports will resurge in the coming quarters.
Will the board be ready to announce this?
Yes, as I said earlier, both private and public sectors have been meeting very frequently to get this or to put an end to this problem in under poor condition. As I said, we are giving ourselves and there are commitments to get this resolved in September, August, moving to. So because there's just limited tracking facilities given the congestion that extent of the congestion in the port and the seasonality of the cargo movement because we are approaching the Christmas season and this is a time when most cargoes are coming in, and so there are a lot of containers out there in the outside the Philippines that are expected to come in. A lot of them, I don't know how many thousands are kept temporarily in some other ports outside the country. They would be coming in. So it would take time to reduce those, to eliminate those backlogs. But I think according to the roadmap that was being prepared by both the government and the private sector, we should see normalization in the coming months.
There are no more questions from the audience, so we've come to the conclusion of this press conference. So thank you. Thank you for your participation. We will see you next time on November 27, 2014.